So, for the record, my name is Jonathan Jones. I'm your host and moderator for the afternoon. So we started our discussion last week talking a little bit about side effects. So just to kind of recap, to bring us up to date a little bit, I want to just remind you of what it was that we reviewed, because this is all public information. None of this is hidden. It's not difficult to find it. You could just Google it and you can find it yourself, but I'll put a link to this in the description. This is right on the FDA's website, so there's nothing fringe about this. There's nothing controversial at all. But on the FDA's website, the official government website, this article is written, Finding and Learning About Side Effects or Adverse Reactions. So when you hear discussions about adverse reactions, they're talking about side effects. They're one and the same. So there's no difference between the two. And right at the beginning of the article, they make it very clear that drugs that have been approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration for sale in the United States must be safe and effective. So that's the goal. The goal is to have safe and effective medication, which means, and by safe and effective, and it's important for you to understand the definition, because the definition of words and terms matter. Because let's say a person were to have some sort of adverse reaction to something, and you decide to take a company, a pharmaceutical company, to court to sue them for damages, because this particular medication that you said was approved and you said is safe and effective actually gave me diabetes, or actually gave me heart disease, or actually gave me inflammation in my knee, or actually caused blindness, or whatever. So you go to court because you want to get damages for this thing. They will argue in court that we said it was safe and effective. And if you look at the public information, what we mean by safe and effective is that the drug, continue reading, the benefits of the drug must be greater than the known risk. So they never said that it was going to be without problem, or that it was going to be damage free, or there would be no harm coming to someone who takes it. They didn't say that. They said the benefit is greater than the risk. And that doesn't mean benefit to you greater than the risk. It's benefit in general to their customer base is greater than the risk. They go on to explain both prescription and over-the-counter drugs have side effects. And then they define that further. Side effects, also known as adverse reactions, are unwanted, undesirable effects that are possibly, notice how they say that, possibly related to the drug. So they're giving themselves room, because you better believe that there are attorneys who write this, or at least review it before it's released to the public, okay? Then it says, so that you can understand what your personal risk is, side effects can vary from minor problems like a runny nose to life-threatening events, such as a heart attack or liver damage. So now you can consider yourself warned. You have been told that the side effects that you get could be as harmless as a runny nose, or could be as serious as a heart attack. And you could literally drop dead from that. So they go on to mention several things can affect who does and does not have side effects when taking a drug. And this is how they indemnify themselves. Your age could have an effect. You could be using other drugs. You could be using vitamins or dietary supplements. You could have other underlying diseases or conditions. For example, diseases that weaken the immune system or affect the function of the kidneys or the liver. Then they go on to mention what some common side effects may be. And on the list of common side effects, right, is things, again, as harmless as upset stomach, dry mouth, drowsiness. But then they go on to specify a side effect is considered serious if the result is A, or first thing listed is death. I would agree with that. I would say that that's pretty serious, a serious side effect. If the side effect is death, I'd say that that would be serious. Or if the condition it causes is life-threatening, or if it leads to hospitalization, or if it leads to disability, or if it causes permanent damage, or exposure prior to conception or during pregnancy causes birth defect. So those are all considered serious. But remember, these are acceptable risk from the FDA's point of view. It is understood that these things could happen. Side effects can happen when you start taking a new drug or dietary supplement, for example, vitamins. Stop taking a drug that you've been on for a while, or increase or decrease the dose or amount of drug that you take. So you can go on and continue reading the article for yourself, and you can see how they spell out the potential side effects that could come from any medication that you're taking. And this includes vaccines. And keeping in mind now, from the inception of vaccines, there was a recent study that was done by a professor, a Danish professor. And I love the way that she spelled out the history of vaccines. She went back to like the measles vaccine. She said it was just such a beautiful thing. They were surprised to find out that once they vaccinated a large population for measles, they found that the all-cause mortality improved dramatically. So all they were trying to do was stop people from dying from measles, but they got all these other benefits that came from it. People's health improved on every level. The immune system improved so dramatically that the results were astounding. And that's, of course, what they would want from a vaccine. So, but she goes on to describe some concerns that she's had about other vaccines, because that's not always been the case. You might recall there were certain vaccines done where there was a study out of the New England Journal of Medicine where a prominent doctor or scientist noted that the mercury, thimerosal, that's what it was contributing to autism, because autism used to be 1 in 1,000. Then it changed to 1 in 500, and over like the next 10 or 15 years, and eventually it went down to 1 in 100. And currently, the rate of autism now is mind-boggling. It's just mind-numbing. How many children are being born with some sort of autism spectrum disorder. And this article at the New England Journal of Medicine linked it to thimerosal, or thimerosal. I can't remember how it's pronounced, but it's the mercury that was in the drug. They completely debunked it and totally withdrew. They completely debunked the article and had to withdraw it. That consequence of that vaccination was not what they wanted. And over the years, it's caused a lot of mothers to decide that they didn't want to vaccinate their children. So that was some of the blowback from it. Current vaccines that's on everybody's mind is the vaccine for COVID-19. The vaccine has saved a lot of lives. And wherever there's a government requirement to get the vaccine, we highly recommend that you follow the government direction with regard to vaccination. Absolutely, positively. I'm neither pro-vaccine nor anti-vaccine, but let's take a look at some of the side effects that some have experienced from one of the vaccines. And this is a document, by the way, that is published by the manufacturer of the vaccine themselves. Okay, why can't I find this article? Okay, hang on. Let me stop the share. The computer doesn't want to cooperate with me. Okay, bring it back to life. Now do a new share. Okay, now it's visible. So last week we got to talking about some of the adverse events of special interest. So you should be able to see the screen now. At the very beginning of the article, it mentioned something that we didn't know initially that was not being announced, was that there were some serious adverse reactions to the vaccine at the very beginning. And there were some people who were claiming that there were, but they were all called liars and they were called fringe people and practically excommunicated on every level. That and over and over again, we saw on television that we were told that it's safe and effective. But this document shows that there were actually 1,223 deaths within the first 90 days. And I'm pretty sure that's just a worldwide number. So that may not be nearly as serious as it sounds. It could have been that was in the first 200 million. I don't know, but because they don't really tell you how many vaccines were administered within that first 90 days. But anyway, our goal here today is to look at some of the adverse events of special interest. It's interesting that some of these that are here are kind of jump out. You notice the first one that's highlighted. I'm not sure if you can see it, but hepatitis is on the list. And it's surprising that right now there's an increase in hepatitis in a bunch of young people right now. I thought I saw, it may not be highlighted, but alopecia was also on this list. Anti-insulin antibodies. So these are all things that could create, other diseases and all kinds of other problems in a person. Arthritis is on here. And these are all immune system issues. Autoimmune myocarditis, autoimmune pericarditis. So those are heart conditions. But I'm just trying to get down to the C's. So now you can see the C's. And in the C's, the first one that comes up with see if I can highlight this, with the word cardiac is right here. No, that's not the first one, is it? No, there's some others. Hold on. Come on, computer, behave. Cardiac amyloidosis is on here. Cardiac arrest. Cardiac failure. Cardiac failure acute. Cardiac sarcoidosis. Ventricle thrombosis. Cardiogenic shock. Cardiovascular inefficiency. Okay, so there's a bunch of cardio conditions that are highlighted here that could come as a potential side effect of one of the vaccines. And we do hear about certain cardiac events that different ones have had from this. But our goal here is not to talk about to focus so much on this, but we're talking about now where micronutrients meet medicine. Okay, so we're going to shift gears now, and now we're going to focus attention on how is it that micronutrients can have some sort of an impact with regard to this issue. And this should motivate any and everyone, especially if you're here for the first time. And I don't know who is here for the first time or who's not, but if you are here for the first time, don't get depressed, because we always start out with the bad news and then we come with the good news. So the bad news is there are side effects of every medication, including something like a vaccine that has been proven to be very effective and to save lives. But let's talk about antioxidants and your heart, specifically with respect to heart disease itself. So in the United States, heart disease is still the leading cause of death. It is still, to this day, the leading cause of death for men, for women, and there is no difference in as far as racial group and ethnicity. One person dies every 36 seconds in the United States from cardiovascular disease, and 659,000 in the United States die from heart disease every year. That's 1 out of every 4 deaths. And by the way, statistically, they announced, it might have been the Danish professor. I lose track. When you go through a lot of articles and listen to a lot of lectures, it's hard to remember who said what. But one recent statistic is that some 80%, a high number, I think it was 80% of the deaths that came from the pandemic was in the elderly population. So the older group were the ones who died from COVID. And it's kind of sad when we see that, cardiac arrest and heart disease is one of the potential side effects that came even from the treatment. So already heart disease is the number one cause of death in the country. And then you add to that something that potentially could cause your heart to stop. And it's really sobering to think about it. And so it really is a little bit disconcerting. Here's some more statistics about a heart attack. So we were talking about heart disease a minute ago. Now we're talking about heart attacks. 805,000 people in the United States have a heart attack every single year. So 1 out of 5 is a silent heart attack. So right now the doctors will tell you to eat healthy. Eat healthy, and they may give you an aspirin. And if your heart starts to have some problems, you might qualify for certain prescription drugs. The longest running clinical trial on heart disease is called the Framingham study. It's named because it's been conducted and currently is still being conducted. It's more than 100 years. It's like 120 years that this clinical study has been in the works in Framingham, Massachusetts, to this day, still in the works. And one of the leading cardiologists out of that, in heading up that study, says that the miracle drug for so once they were able to identify what the problem was, the miracle drug was statins. So they found out that cholesterol lowering drugs improved the outcome of heart attacks and cardiovascular disease. So those are the only things that they really recommend: aspirin, statins, and healthy food, a healthy diet. Stay away from junk food. The problem is that food nowadays is not just food. There's all kinds of toxins that come with food these days. So the way that commercial food production is being done, it can easily come with a healthy dose of glyphosate. Now, my recommendation for everyone, I don't care what your condition is or what your aspiration is to get 7,000 steps in every single day. So if you really want to improve cardiovascular health, get your 7,000 steps in. It decreases mortality by 70%. You know what that means? That means your chances of dying from a heart attack go down by 70% if you get 7,000 steps in a day. So exercise is important. How do you get 7,000 steps in a day? It's a lot of steps. That's 3.5 miles per day. 3.5 miles you'd have to get in to get 7,000 steps in. I suggest that when you go for your errands, instead of looking for the closest parking space, look for the furthest away parking space. Instead of taking the elevator, take the stairs. So give yourself excuses to get some steps in, and get one of those free apps that go on your device. Since you're carrying around this this cancer-causing thing anyway, put an app on it that keeps track of your steps for the day. I started out about a year ago now in August. And my first time walking around a block, I almost had to call 911. Don't laugh. It was bad. It was bad. I was totally sedentary. And probably the only reason I didn't end up in cardiac arrest was because I was taking antioxidants and keeping my glutathione levels high. But today, I do 3,000. I do 6,000 steps in the morning, just about every day. And I'm exercising pretty good. And it takes a lot more now to get my heart rate up over 130. So I believe that I have effectively accomplished something to this end. I hope I have anyway. So I haven't been tested yet. My last blood tests were pretty good, by the way, just so you all know. I did get a blood test not too long ago. And my doctor looked at it and he said I was low on vitamin D. And so I increased my vitamin D, and this back pain I had right in the middle of my back just went away, and my lower back. So I was kind of glad that I did that, but there was nothing else that was of major concern. Anyway, getting back to our point, there are studies also that say that not exercising is worse than being a diabetic smoker. So if you don't exercise, you're better off smoking cigarettes and being a diabetic, which I don't recommend that. I'm strongly recommending the exercise, I think. So here's the risk factors for coronary artery disease. And you can see that for yourself, that if you're high risk of that, you need to be especially concerned about it. So get moving. Get moving. If you can do something about your diet, do that. And we recommend that you eat as organic and as GMO free as possible. So as organic as you can. So eat as clean as you can, and eat as much leafy green vegetables as you can. You know, you're better off spending your money in better food, a higher quality of food, than saving that to pay the copay for your prescription meds. Okay, so you're better off spending your money on a higher quality of food. And the second best investment that you can make is to get to know something about this man right here. This is Dr. Keith Prasad. He's a world-renowned scientist, member of the British Royal Academy of Medicine, first radiation biologist PhD in the world. This man is so brilliant. That's a 7-year course to become a radiation biologist PhD, a 7-year course. And Dr. Prasad finished it in 3 years and became the world's first radiation biologist PhD. That's a big deal that happened with this man. He's been published more than 250 times. So that means as far as scientists are concerned, he's thought up 250 different things that other scientists hadn't quite thought about yet. One of them that's my favorite is he's the guy who figured out that vitamin E succinate is cytotoxic to cancer cells. What does that mean? There are about 6 different kinds of vitamin E. He found the one. He discovered the one that happens to kill cancer cells. Oh, by the way, besides vitamin E being beneficial for certain things, the oh, by the way benefit to this particular type of vitamin E succinate, is it will kill cancer cells. That's what the word cytotoxic means, cytotoxic to cancer cells. And he put that in his formula, by the way. So if you are taking MicroDaily, which we'll talk about in a second, he added that in. He's authored more than 31 books, and he's working on another one now. I think it's 32nd book he's working on right now. And one of his books is Fight Heart Disease with Vitamins and Antioxidants. So there's a direct connection between a specific high doses of antioxidants that has the tremendous benefit to the heart. And this is the formula that Dr. Prasad has produced. Originally, this was called military micronutrient formulas because it was originally formulated for the military. So the government ponied up somewhere in around $24 million to do the research on it. And Dr. Prasad put the formula together. All of his research is poured into this bottle. We happen to be able to benefit from it. And it's only what, $52, $53? You got to pay the shipping and the tax. But we have access to this right now. Now, the question that you're saying to yourself, yeah, I hear you, Jonathan, but what about the heart? We're supposed to be talking about the heart, because remember, heart disease, cardiovascular issues, cardiac issues, there was like 15 different cardiac issues that was listed as a side effect of just one vaccine potential. 15 different things. Well, before you have a heart attack over this whole thing, look at what it says. These are the list of patents that Dr. Prasad was able to secure on this amazing micronutrient formula. 1, 2, 3, the fourth one down. My stylus doesn't seem to be wanting to write on here, so I'm trying to circle it for you, but it's not working. But you see it over there on the right. If you look at the column on the right, patented functional use, count down 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes down. Micronutrients for pulmonary and heart health. The next one down, micronutrients for pulmonary and heart health. These are different patents that were secured and in connection with clinical studies that were done directly in connection with various government departments, namely the U.S. the United States Navy, there's a fire department, and the United States Army. And the next one down again, micronutrients for pulmonary and heart health. So in 4 different studies, well, 3 different studies right there, it was clearly established and proved that a specific formulation of antioxidants was beneficial to the heart. Now, Dr. Prasad came on this program and explained to us one of those studies. I believe it was the one with the fire department. They observed after a number of months that the carotid artery in all of the participants who had taken this micronutrient formula was clear. So they nicknamed this micronutrient formula the poor man's Lipitor. Isn't that interesting? Lipitor, by the way, is a statin, but that's the nickname they gave it as a result of their observation that the carotid artery in all the participants was pretty much clear. So that's a beautiful side effect. If you want to have a side effect, that's one you want to have. You want to have one where your carotid artery, which, by the way, if your carotid artery closes off, that's a good way to just have a stroke. Or if in some way, some of the plaque or calcification that builds up in there gets attacked by the immune system and breaks off and forms a clot, that's a good way to have a stroke. It's also a good way to have a heart attack if the clot is going in the other direction. Okay, so that's the clinical scientific data that exists. We're not going to go through that today. I'm going to be talking to Dr. Prasad about that in a couple of weeks, by the way. So toward the end of the month, I think it's the 29th. And we'll ask Dr. Prasad specifically about this because heart disease can be a side effect of certain medications, including, certain vaccines that people are commonly taking today. So a little bit about MicroDaily. It activates the body's cell defense mechanism. It increases health and life of the body's cells. Don't minimize those words. That's powerful. If you have anything that goes into your body that increases the health and the life of your cells, that's a big deal. Then number 3 is it replenishes antioxidant levels to reduce or prevent oxidative damage. That's a major deal. That's free radicals are trying to destroy cells in your body. You could say, what's the big deal? I got trillions of them. Yes, you do. You've got trillions of cells in your body, but you can eat one puff of secondhand cigarette smoke is, I think, like 4 billion free radicals in one puff. So 4 billion. So how many billions of those free radicals does it take to knock down to reach a trillion of your cells doing damage? You don't want them in your body. So you need as many of your cells protected as possible. And that's what antioxidants do. It neutralizes those free radicals and passes them out the body as waste. Glutathione, by the way, the MicroDaily raises lymphocytic glutathione levels. MicroDaily raises lymphocytic glutathione levels. And the physician's death reference says that a stroke is a glutathione deficient condition. There was a study done out of the University in Mainz, Germany, that also said that they measured a low levels of glutathione. This is a conclusion that they drew at Gutenberg University in Mainz, Germany. It suggests a coming heart attack. By the way, Gutenberg University in Mainz, Germany, that's like the Harvard or the Yale here in this country. And this is an excerpt from the Framingham study I told you about. They illustrated exactly what they found out as to the way that coronary artery disease occurs and how the immune system contributes to the disease and eventually leads to the formation of a clot. And if that clot breaks off and goes to your heart, that's called a heart attack. So what do you want to do? Keep your glutathione levels high. And you want a balanced cocktail of micronutrients and antioxidants all of that has been put together in this formula here, MicroDaily. You can look at the list of the ingredients here, and before you just say to yourself, "Oh, that's just a bunch of antioxidants that I already take most of that stuff," I guarantee you that most of this you do not take. Even if you are taking vitamin A, C, D, E, B1, B2, B3, B5, B6, B7, B9, B12, you're not taking this, because all of these come from natural sources, and this specific formula took years for Dr. Prasad to figure out that this balance in particular has a unique on the body. The MTHFR formula, phenomenal formula. I recommend the EMF formula, and that's the red bottle right there. The MTHFR, the purple bottle, though, is phenomenal. So it's because it has the methylated B9 and the methylated B12. So those are the benefits of it. The EMF has all the benefits of the purple bottle, all the benefits of the green bottle, plus it has additional anti-radiation components built into it as well. So the prices are $53, $63, and $73. So that's the difference in the price. So the green bottle is $53. I'm rounding it up. The purple bottle is $63 and the red bottle is $73. That's roughly what it is. And then you pay about $9 or $10 for the shipping. So those are the discount prices. So if you want to get it, you want to get back with the person who invited you to this call, and they will help you get your subscription set up for MicroDaily. And again, I highly recommend the EMF formula. That's the one that you would like to take to add to your diet, because we are being bombarded by radiation. Had a conversation with my sister last night, and for years she's had an issue, some sort of a growth on her pituitary gland. She finally started taking MicroDaily about 6 months or so ago, something like that. But now suddenly she's taking just the basic amount. You know, it's almost a pediatric dose. But the pituitary marker is starting to go up. So there's activity taking place with this pituitary, this mass on her pituitary gland. That's not good, but there's a good reason for it. My sister spends, she uses a Bluetooth device on her ear, and that she has it on her ear all day long, because that's how she stays in contact with her support network is by the phone, and she uses this Bluetooth device. So she's basically, giving herself a cancer, brain tumor. So I've got her to stop using that, and I hope she does. I hope she follows the suggestion and stops using that Bluetooth device, because you're frying your brain. Do not put your cell phone near your head. Please don't do that. So the more you can use it on speaker, the better. You need your cell phone as far away from your head as possible, so that you don't give yourself cancer. Okay, so we're going to pause right there. And some of you have had some interesting stories with your heart and improvement in your heart by taking MicroDaily. So I'm going to put Rose on the spot right now. And Rose, could you just briefly tell us? You don't need to tell the whole story, especially if you're not comfortable with that. But I'm going to ask you if you will share with us just in general, what your problem was. And then what you observed happening with your carotid artery after you started taking MicroDaily. You mind sharing that with us? Don't forget to unmute.
Yeah, I had carotid artery plaque in 2017. And, it was screened for the second time. It was still there. And the third time, my primary insurance, Pfizer, confirmed it was there. But after seven months of use of MicroDaily, I went to another live screening, and they say it's gone. It's cleared out.
Okay.
But there's one thing I noticed right now, Jonathan. I just noticed that I don't have the floater bothering me anymore.
Oh, no more floaters?
I used to have a big black floater on my right eye. For now, I didn't notice it. I said the other night, I don't see that anymore. So I thought I hope it's gone.
Well, if you're not seeing it, that's telling you something right there. But I mean, this kind of tickles me. I don't know if everybody else is as tickled as I am about this. She cleared up her carotid artery in 7 months' time. But the thing that she's most excited about is that floater being gone.
Yeah.
I think that's wonderful. Thank you very much, Rose, for sharing your story. And did you hear that? That's the 7 months' time that happened. And by the way, Rose, I got a phone call last night. This is a long time customer, diabetic. And about, I don't know, 5 years ago, somewhere early when I first got connected to MicroDaily, she started taking MicroDaily, and her sugar levels improved tremendously. She was so excited about it. But like a lot of people, they think that once I'm better, I don't need it anymore. So she would just take it, here and there. She completely forgot the results that she got until just recently being diagnosed with a breast cancer. So I put her on very high doses. So she went on that high dose that Jeff was telling us about a couple of weeks ago. It's the methylated formula, because she didn't want the EMF yet, but we have her on the methylated formula. So she's doing 6 3 times a day. And this is about her second or third day. I see her phone number pop up on my phone last night, 9:30, 10 o'clock. And I just told her to let me know of any changes at all. And when your phone rings at, 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, when someone's just started on these high doses of MicroDaily, you're getting a little nervous and say, okay, what's wrong? What's happening here? And she was kind of like you. She said, my bad eye, the blind one that I can't see out of, she said, I can see pink and yellow from it. And she was screaming about how she could see. So I'm not going to I'm not going to trivialize the benefit that you got with your floater being gone, because everybody wants to be able to see better. There's no question about that. And when you see benefits to your eye, I know that has to say to you, imagine what it's doing in the areas that I can't see, that I don't have this kind of direct, connection with. So, but anyway, she was very excited about that. Not only is she now seeing something from her blind eye, the one that she couldn't see out of before. She's seeing something from her blind eye. She said, I saw shapes. I could see the sofa. I could see pink and I could see yellow. This is the material that she has in her shop. She's a manufacturer of swimwear or something. She said she could see, she couldn't even believe it. She's screaming about it. She says, oh, and by the way, my sugar levels are down to 110 again in the morning. My fasting sugar levels are down to 110. Oh, and by the way, I don't have headaches anymore. And by the way, I've lost 0.5 pound every day since I started taking, taking the high doses of MicroDaily. So anyway, I just wanted to add that all in there, because having a positive effect on your eye is a big deal. So thank you so much, Rose, for sharing your story.
You're welcome.
But did you get that, folks? Did you get it? Here's a living example, breathing example of someone whose carotid artery cleared up, after 7 months' time. And when she told the whole story was that she had not been able to get it cleared up for years. So this is not just something that just happened. She'd been trying to do something about it with her doctor's help for years. 7 months after she started on MicroDaily, she no longer had a blocked carotid artery, a buildup of calcium in her carotid artery. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. So the same thing that happened to those firemen also happened to Rose. Okay, so we're going to pause right here. And if you guys have any questions or anyone wants to share their story, we want to hear it now. So now's the time.
Hello, good evening, Jonathan.
Is that Claudia Phillips?
Yes, it is.
Go ahead.
Good evening. I am a cancer survivor. Not once, but
do you
twice.
mind, Claudia? Do you mind if we can put you on on the screen also? You don't have to, but I'm just curious. Can we add you to the screen also?
Yes.
Brother Jonathan, that's my aunt from Trinidad. This is Candace.
Oh, okay, very good. Excellent, excellent. Okay, all right, very good. Go ahead, please, Claudia Phillips, Candace's aunt.
Okay. Yes. I am a cancer survivor. In 2008, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And in 2017, the cancer came back in my other breast. I had a double mastectomy done. I did radiation and chemo and all of that. My niece Candice spoke to me about this MicroDaily. So I told her to get two for me or get one for me to purchase it. Now, the question I'm still taking what you call a cancer blocker. So because my body is producing a lot of estrogen.
Estrogen,
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And so I think this is what the second cancer was all about. I have been taking the Bell's product like CoQ10, stem cell, the stem cell activator, and shark liver oil. I have not received the MicroDaily as yet. My niece has posted onto her mother in New York City, and she's going to give it to someone to bring it for me. I cannot wait to start this product because linked to you and the other people there, I mean, it sounds so exciting for me, and I can't wait to take it. But do I have to taking the CoQ10 with the shark liver oil and if I have to start the MicroDaily? That question I want to find out.
No, you do not have to stop taking it. The only thing that we want folks not to mix in with this is other vitamins. Your CoQ10 is not going to hurt. That's not going to be a problem because CoQ10 is just a cofactor and helps to support what you're doing. So you can continue that. And the shark cartilage, very good anti-cancer properties. So that's there won't be any problem there. Anything that helps to lower your estrogen levels down, do it. And it could be that changing your diet will do it also. By the way, most of the food that we eat today in some way contributes to increasing estrogen. So be careful about what you're eating. So try to eat as clean as possible because there's stuff that's, especially in the water, if you're drinking bottled water and things, is causing an increase in estrogen in a lot of people. So be careful about that.
I do drink the alkaline. That's the water
You're drinking Kangen water?
Yes, that's right.
What pH level are you using?
I believe it's a 9 point something.
Discontinue that.
Discontinue it?
Discontinue that. Just start drinking lemon and water in the morning. Do not drink high alkaline water. Your body does not need to become more alkaline. It needs to become more acidic, naturally.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, you could be doing yourself more harm than good with that. I have a Kangen machine that's been in storage now for about 10 years.
Okay, good. Thank you for your advice.
Yes. Be very careful. Lemon and water in the morning.
Yes.
And now here's another thing that you can do that would really be very beneficial. Take a whole organic lemon.
Yes.
Drop it in a blender.
Okay.
1 ounce of apple cider vinegar in the same blender with some water. Blend it up. Drink that twice a day.
Twice a day. Okay, I'm a person who really suffer from acid reflux. Would that hamper? You mean make it worse?
No, it'll make it better.
Make it better.
It sounds counterintuitive, but it'll make it better.
Okay, then. Thank you so much, Jonathan. Yes.
Yep, you're very welcome.
I can't wait to start the MicroDaily so I can come and let you all know how I'm feeling about it. Yes.
Yes, indeed. We're looking forward to that. And by the way, I suggest you put another order in now because if it's taking this long for you to get those first 2 bottles, you better order another one now because you need to take high doses of it. So if you're going to Dr. Prasad, in our last discussion we had about a month ago, and Candace may need to send you this recording. But Dr. Prasad's newest research shows that high levels of antioxidants starves abnormal cells, cuts off their food source. So high doses is the same thing that the customer who called me last night is doing. 6 capsules 3 times a day, you're going to blow through those 2 bottles like that. So order some more right now, and don't go with 2, order like 10 if you can.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. And thank you for your comments and for chiming in. All right.
Okay,
We look forward
then,
to hearing your story now, Aunt
Okay.
Phillips. We're looking forward to hearing your story. So please come back.
Okay, then. Thank you. Okay.
All right.
All right.
And Valeria Braswell has a question or a comment.
Well, I'm just going to share a brief comment. Since we've been introduced to MicroDaily, but through you, Jonathan, we're so thankful. And we started off with the MicroDaily, the original. And my mom had dementia, and we just wish that we had ran into MicroDaily sooner. And I haven't taken it because I've had a number of joint replacement surgeries, a lot of stomach surgeries. So I had a lot of problems with absorption. And so the green MicroDaily was doing good. It helped with the inflammation. And I just really felt like, okay, well, this is good. It's better than before. So a couple months ago, my sister has said, oh, Jonathan mentioned that the EMF one is really good for pain. And so I also just suffer from chronic pain. And I've been saying from the beginning to Jonathan, I just want my old life back. I just want my life back so I could just move and do things like I used to. And I am here to tell you that this EMF, this bottle has given me my life back. I am just, I was felt like I was in a vicious cycle. Like I used to love to walk, but I wouldn't want to walk because then my knee would swell up. Then they would just try to give me more pain medicine. And I just wasn't a big advocate of just increasing dosages. And I'm like, oh, this is turning into a nightmare. But for the first time in years, literally, I have been able to go for a walk and I'm not in fear that I'm going to ignite pain or have more pain or anything like that. So I am just really like, I'm ready to do the video now. Like this EMF, I tell you, this will change your life. It will give your life back to you. And it truly has helped, not just with the inflammation, but I'm like, I have more artificial joints than I have real joints. This is the one that I'm saying, where's the bottle? Where's the bottle? Where's my MicroDaily?
That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. Thank you very much for sharing that story, Valerie. This is my first time hearing this, by the way, you guys. So, but thank you very much for sharing that. That's amazing, and it doesn't surprise us. It doesn't surprise us at all. So you keep it up, and we're looking forward to hearing more positive results from you and your clients also. So we know that you're getting the word out. So thank you very much, Valeria. Okay, so I don't know if you guys quite fully dialed in on that, but she used to take the original formula, and she switched to the EMF formula, and her results went off the Richter scale. So she got exponential results just by making the switch to the MicroDaily EMF formula. We are being bombarded by EMF. It's a real problem for us. And so I highly recommend that anyone who can switch to that. Belinda? No, okay, good. So as you can see, all we're doing, folks, is just sharing information that we believe could be of benefit to anyone. So the information that's shared here is not intended to be a substitute for a visit to your primary healthcare physician. I'm not a medical doctor. I don't recommend that you do anything that I say. In fact, ignore everything I say. Everything I'm telling you is for information and educational purposes only. Results with any micronutrient, any vitamin supplement are atypical. What happened to one person may or may not happen to you. So always talk to your doctor about any plans you have. But understand something. Doctors that I interview want their patients to be mentally and emotionally involved in their healthcare and their well-being. So they want that. Okay? So the next week we'll come back again. Guess what? We're doing part 3.
Mhm.
We're doing part 3 next week. That will follow by part 4 with Dr. Prasad. Okay? So side effects, in my personal opinion, is a bigger problem than cancers, than heart disease by themselves, because so many folks are being negatively impacted by their lack of awareness of the side effects of their medications. And if they knew more about that, all by itself, they could improve their health and get better results. So we're focusing on that. So next week, it'll be the same topic, part 3. The next week, part 4 with Dr. Prasad. Okay, so that's what our focus is. So thank you guys very much for joining us. And once again, for the record, my name is Jonathan Jones. Today is May the 8th, 2022. It's been my pleasure and my privilege to be your host and moderator for today. Thank you, folks, for joining us.
Thank you, Jonathan.
You're very welcome.
Jonathan. Thank you.